David Michael Bautista Jr. is an American actor, retired professional wrestler, former mixed martial artist and bodybuilder.
Bautista began his wrestling career in 1999 and signed with the World Wrestling Federation in 2000. From 2002 to 2010, he gained fame under the ring name Bautista and became a six-time world champion by winning the World Heavyweight Championship 4 times and the WWE Championship twice. He holds the record for the longest reign as World Heavyweight Champion at 282 days and has also won the World Tag Team Championship 3 times and the WWE Tag Team Championship once. He was the winner of the 2005 Royal Rumble match and went on to headline WrestleMania 21, one of the top 5 highest-grossing pay-per-view events in professional wrestling history. Bautista re-signed with WWE in 2013, going on to win the 2014 Royal Rumble match and headline WrestleMania 30 before again departing that June. In October 2018, Bautista made his second return to WWE and faced Triple H at WrestleMania 35 in April 2019 before retiring from wrestling.
Bautista began acting in 2006 and has starred in The Man with the Iron Fists, Riddick, the James Bond film Spectre, and Blade Runner 2049. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he has played the role of Drax the Destroyer in the films Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 2, Avengers, Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. He has also appeared in several direct-to-video films since 2009.
In August 2012, Bautista signed a contract with Classic Entertainment and Sports to fight in mixed martial arts. He won his lone MMA fight on October 6, 2012, defeating Vince Lucero via TKO in the first round.
David Michael Bautista Jr. was born on January 18, 1969, in the Washington, D.C. suburb of Arlington, Virginia, the son of Donna Ray and hairdresser David Michael Bautista. His mother is of Greek descent, while his father is the son of Filipino immigrants. His paternal grandfather served in the Philippine military, worked as a taxi driver and barber, and held other jobs to feed the family. Bautista has said that he lived in poverty and that he had a hard life before he reached the age of 9. 3 murders had occurred on his front lawn. As young as age 13, he was stealing cars. By age 17, Bautista was estranged from his parents and lived on his own. He later admitted, "I am proud of my parents. They are good, honest, hard-working folks. They taught me the values of working hard." He was a nightclub bouncer until he was arrested after a fight that left 2 patrons injured, one of whom was rendered unconscious. After a trial, he was sentenced to 1 year of probation. He also worked as a lifeguard before pursuing a career in bodybuilding, crediting the latter with saving his life.
During his wrestling career, Bautista went by the moniker Bautista with a modified spelling. When he went into acting, he reverted to the original spelling of his last name, billed as Dave Bautista in all film credits.
Bautista tried out at the World Championship Wrestling power plant but was told he would never make it in the wrestling business by Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker. He then went to the World Wrestling Federation, who advised him to train with AFA ANOAI in the Wild Salmon Training Center Wrestling School, where he went to train and compete in Anoa'i's World Stream Wrestling promotion. He had his debut match as Khan on October 30, 1999. Bautista also trained with Maurice Crump in Muay Thai and Eskrima. Most recently, he trained at Cesar Gracie Jiu-Jitsu under Cesar Gracie and has become a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Upon signing with the WWF in 2000, Bautista was sent to Ohio Valley Wrestling, a WWF developmental territory. He made his OVW debut later that year under the ring name Leviathan, where he immediately joined forces with Sin. As a member of the Disciples of Sin stable, he went undefeated until being beaten at Christmas Chaos by Kane, with help from Stone Cold Steve Austin. He later won the OVW Heavyweight Championship from the Machine Doug Basham before losing the belt to the Prototype. A few months later, Bautista left OVW after he was promoted to WWE's main roster.
While still in OVW, Bautista began appearing on non-televised WWE events. He began his televised WWE career on May 9, 2002, on an episode of SmackDown as Deacon Bautista, a villainous enforcer for Reverend Vaughn. He made his WWE in-ring debut in a tag team match, teaming with Vaughn against Farouk and Randy Orton, pinning Orton. Over several weeks, Orton tried to beat Vaughn and Bautista with different partners, but ultimately lost each time. Bautista suffered his first loss in a match against Rikishi after Vaughn accidentally punched him, allowing Rikishi to take advantage and pin Bautista. Bautista and Vaughn argued over the forthcoming weeks, with Bautista eventually turning on Vaughn. On the November 11 episode of SmackDown, Bautista defeated Vaughn to end their feud. After splitting with Vaughn, he was assigned to the Raw brand and was renamed Bautista. He aligned himself with Ric Flair and feuded with Kane, whom he defeated at Armageddon.
In January 2003, Bautista joined Triple H, Ric Flair and Randy Orton to form the villainous stable Evolution. Bautista, however, was sidelined for much of 2003 after he tore his right triceps muscle at a Raw Live event in a match against Brock Lesnar. While training after the injury, Bautista re-tore his triceps, extending his stay on the sidelines. Bautista made his return on October 20th episode of Raw, interfering in a match between Goldberg and Shawn Michaels and shattering Goldberg's ankle with a chair. After the interference, Evolution came out, and Triple H rewarded Bautista with $100,000. On November 10th episode of Raw, Goldberg defeated Bautista by disqualification when Triple H interfered. At Armageddon, Bautista took part in 2 matches, losing to Shawn Michaels in a singles match and winning a tag team turmoil match along with Ric Flair to become one half of the World Tag Team Champions. By the end of the event, all 4 members of Evolution held every male championship on Raw, with Triple H winning the World Heavyweight Championship and Randy Orton winning the Intercontinental Championship. They held the title until February 16, 2004 episode of Raw, when they were defeated by Booker T and Rob Van Dam. They later regained the title for a short period.
At Survivor Series, Triple H, Bautista, Gene Snitsky and Edge were defeated by Maven, Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit, and Randy Orton in an 8-man elimination tag team match for control of Raw. Over the following month, the members of the winning team would each be the Raw general manager for a week. Throughout the next 2 months, the relationship between Bautista and Triple H began to deteriorate. After a loss to Chris Jericho, Triple H verbally insulted Bautista. Bautista teased leaving Evolution that night, but declared that he was still part of Evolution and that they tricked everyone. Despite this ploy, Bautista began behaving more like a fan favorite over the next few weeks in comparison to Evolution's villainous tactics. One particular moment saw Bautista express disgust as Triple H and Ric Flair boasted about how they had intimidated and/or beat up Jim Ross, Danny Hodge, and Stacy Keibler. Regardless, he continued to show his loyalty to Triple H and Evolution by running down to the ring and assisting them in matches. As 2005 began, Triple H realized the possibility of Bautista becoming a threat to his World Heavyweight Championship. Triple H suggested that he not enter the Royal Rumble, claiming that it would be selfish of him to do so and to simply focus on Triple H retaining the title. Bautista entered anyway and went on to win the Rumble, earning the right to participate in the main event of WrestleMania 21 against the world champion of his choice. In an attempt to persuade Bautista to challenge WWE Champion John Bradshaw Layfield and challenger John Cena in a triple threat match rather than him, Triple H concocted a scheme to have Bautista run over in a limousine resembling the one used by Layfield. Initially, Dave did not want help from Evolution and wanted to confront JBL by himself. Triple H insisted that Evolution stick together and accompanied Dave anyway, saving him from the oncoming vehicle. Bautista became aware of the plot while sneakily eavesdropping on fellow Evolution members and signed a contract guaranteeing him a match with the World Heavyweight Champion Triple H at WrestleMania 21, thus leaving Evolution and officially turning into a fan favorite. Bautista initially pretended that he would sign with SmackDown, giving Triple H and Flair the thumbs up, but turned it into a thumbs down before attacking the pair. He emphasized his departure by powerbombing Triple H through the table used for the contract signing. Bautista won the World Heavyweight Championship on April 3 in the main event of WrestleMania 21. WrestleMania 21 received 1.09 million pay-per-view buys worldwide, the then highest ever number of buys for any non-boxing pay-per-view. Bautista's match with Triple H was described by sports journalist Dave Meltzer as the peak of one of best storylines in years. Bautista won a rematch with Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship at Backlash. After Bautista retained his title against Edge, he was betrayed by Ric Flair, who helped Triple H viciously attack the champion as Triple H challenged Bautista to a Hell in a Cell match at Vengeance. Bautista won the match at Vengeance, retaining his title yet again. With this win, Bautista became the first wrestler to pin Triple H in a Hell in a Cell match. On June 30th, Bautista was drafted to SmackDown as the last pick in the 2005 WWE Draft Lottery, making a surprise appearance to attack JBL, who was celebrating his victory in a six-man elimination match to crown the inaugural SmackDown champion. JBL defeated Bautista at the Great American Bash by disqualification after the referee saw Bautista use a steel chair. They had a rematch at SummerSlam in a no-holds-barred match in which Bautista pinned JBL. The feud culminated in a bull rope match with Bautista retaining his championship. Soon after retaining the title in a feud with Eddie Guerrero, WWE.com reported that Bautista suffered a muscle tear in his back at the taping for November 11 episode of SmackDown due to a double chokeislam from Big Show and Kane. Plans had been made for Bautista to defend the title in a triple threat match with Eddie Guerrero and Randy Orton on November 18 episode, but the match did not take place due to the unexpected death of Guerrero on November 13, the date of the taping. Bautista paid homage to Guerrero during the SmackDown and Raw tribute shows dedicated to Guerrero's memory. Bautista led Team SmackDown against Team Raw in an inter-brand feud before Survivor Series. The feud saw Big Show and Kane chokeislaming Bautista several more times in the weeks leading up to Survivor Series in an on-camera explanation for Bautista's injury. Bautista ultimately helped his team win the match. After Bautista saved Rey Mysterio from Big Show and Kane, Mysterio teamed with Bautista to face the Big Show and Kane at Armageddon. On December 16 episode of SmackDown, Bautista and Mysterio defeated WWE Tag Team Champions MNM to win the titles in a match they dedicated to Eddie Guerrero, and thus Bautista became a double champion. After this, the clash with Big Show and Kane at Armageddon turned into a champions versus champions encounter. Bautista and Mysterio lost to Big Show and Kane at Armageddon. 2 weeks later on SmackDown, MNM defeated Bautista and Mysterio after help from the returning Mark Henry to regain the WWE Tag Team Championships. During the interference, Henry attacked Bautista and performed his World's Strongest Slam. The teams met again in a steel cage match that Henry also became involved in, and Bautista and Mysterio were defeated again. Bautista tore his right triceps during a match with Mark Henry at a house show on January 6, forcing him to vacate the World Heavyweight Championship at the SmackDown tapings on January 13, 2 days after surpassing Triple H's previous mark of 280 days for longest reigning champion. In his book, Bautista Unleashed, Bautista said that he believed that Henry was careless during their matches. He never gave Bautista any warning that the move was coming. Bautista went on to have successful surgery on his arm on January 12. Bautista made an appearance at No Way Out and told the crowd that once his arm had healed he would return to regain the World Heavyweight Championship. At WrestleMania 22, he interrupted a Randy Orton interview, putting SmackDown on notice that the World Heavyweight Championship would return to him by WrestleMania 23. Bautista made his official return during July 7 episode of SmackDown, immediately calling out and entering into a feud with Mark Henry. At Saturday night's main event XXXIII, Bautista won a six-man tag match with teammates Rey Mysterio and Bobby Lashley, defeating World Heavyweight Champion King Booker, Finlay, and Mark Henry. Henry was legitimately injured and was ruled out of the scheduled match between the two at the Great American Bash, thus further delaying a potential feud between the two after being delayed by Bautista's initial injury. Bautista put out an open challenge to replace the injured Henry, which was answered by Mr. Kennedy. Bautista lost this match via disqualification for failing to stop choking Mr. Kennedy into the turnbuckle with his boot, but continued to attack Kennedy, resulting in a laceration on his forehead so severe that it exposed his cranium and required more than 20 stitches to close. Bautista lost another match with Kennedy via countout in a rematch on SmackDown before finally defeating Kennedy by pinfall on August 4 episode of SmackDown. During this time, Bautista tried to regain a world title, facing both Big Show for his ECW World Championship on ECW and King Booker for his World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam and on SmackDown. Bautista won the SummerSlam match, but not the title as the contests ended via disqualification, meaning Booker retained the title. In the SmackDown, about a few weeks later, Booker retained with help from his court. Bautista remained a top contender to the World Championship, competing against King Booker on several occasions while feuding with Finlay, before finally defeating Booker to regain the World Heavyweight Championship at Survivor Series. Ironically, the win occurred at the same arena where he surrendered the title in January. At WrestleMania 23, Bautista lost the championship to the winner of the Royal Rumble match, The Undertaker. They continued to battle over the title to a stalemate in a last man standing match at Backlash and a steel cage match on 11 May episode of SmackDown. In both matches, Bautista and The Undertaker ended in draw, thus Undertaker retained the championship. Following the latter, Edge took advantage and won the title from The Undertaker by cashing in his Money in the Bank contract. Afterward, Bautista challenged Edge unsuccessfully for the World Heavyweight Championship at Judgment Day, One Night Stand, and Vengeance, Night of Champions. The loss at Vengeance stipulated that Bautista could no longer get another chance at the World Heavyweight Championship while Edge remained champion. Bautista accepted an open challenge from the Great Khali at the Great American Bash. Edge relinquished the title due to an injury the week before the pay-per-view, and Khali became the new World Heavyweight Champion, winning a Battle Royal and eliminating Bautista. Bautista and Kane, Edge's title opponent, faced Khali at the Great American Bash in a triple threat match, where Khali retained the title. Bautista received a disqualification victory against Khali at SummerSlam after Khali used a steel chair, thus retaining the title again. Bautista finally claimed his third World Heavyweight Championship after 8 consecutive attempts by defeating Khali in a match that included Rey Mysterio at Unforgiven. His first challenge was from the Great Khali in a Punjabi prison match at No Mercy, where Bautista retained his title. He won the match by leaping from the inner bamboo structure to the outer one, shortening his escape route and beating Khali to the floor. After the return of The Undertaker at Unforgiven, the duo reignited their feud at Cyber Sunday, where the fans chose Stone Cold Steve Austin as the special guest referee. Bautista pinned The Undertaker after 2 Bautista bombs. The feud continued with a Hell in a Cell match at Survivor Series. During the match, Edge returned and interfered by giving The Undertaker a con chair too. He then pulled an unconscious Bautista on top of The Undertaker for the pinfall to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. At Armageddon, Edge won a triple threat match alongside The Undertaker for Bautista's World Heavyweight Championship. Bautista appeared in the Royal Rumble and was eliminated by Triple H. At No Way Out, he was part of the SmackDown Elimination Chamber match and eliminated Big Daddy V, but was last eliminated by The Undertaker. At WrestleMania 24, he defeated Yamaga in an interpromotional match. After Shawn Michaels defeated Ric Flair at the same event, Bautista began a feud with Michaels, calling him selfish and egotistical. The two faced off at Backlash with Chris Jericho as the special guest referee. Michaels won after faking a knee injury and performing Sweet Chin Music. Bautista then defeated Michaels at One Night Stand in a stretcher match, thus ending their feud. On June 23, Bautista was drafted from SmackDown to the Raw brand during the 2008 WWE Draft. Bautista became a World Tag Team Champion for a third time on August 4th episode of Raw, when he teamed up with John Cena to defeat Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase for the title, but they failed to retain the titles against the former champions on the next episode of Raw. Bautista defeated Cena at SummerSlam. On October 26 at Cyber Sunday, Bautista defeated Chris Jericho for his 4th World Heavyweight Championship in a match in which Stone Cold Steve Austin was voted in as the special guest referee. Bautista's reign, however, only lasted 8 days when Jericho won the title back in a steel cage match on a 3-hour special episode of Raw. Bautista then entered a feud with former Evolution partner, Randy Orton. At Survivor Series, Bautista led a team of himself, CM Punk, Kofi Kingston, Matt Hardy, and R-Truth to face the team of Randy Orton, Shelton Benjamin, William Regal, Cody Rhodes, and Mark Henry. Orton's team won with Orton pinning Bautista, winning the match for his team. His feud with Orton continued up to Armageddon where Bautista defeated Orton. On December 15th episode of Raw, Bautista was put into a handicapped match against The Legacy with John Cena as his partner. During the match, Orton struck Bautista with a punt to the head. Bautista was knocked out and put out of action indefinitely due to a storyline head injury. WWE.com later reported that Bautista elected to undergo surgery to repair a hamstring tear. His hamstring was injured at SummerSlam in the same match that John Cena was forced out of action with a neck injury. He was expected to be out of action for 6 to 8 months. Bautista returned on the Raw after WrestleMania 25 to save Triple H, Shane McMahon, and Vince McMahon from The Legacy. Vince McMahon then scheduled Bautista to team up with WWE Champion Triple H and Shane McMahon to face The Legacy at Backlash, where he would. During the match, Bautista had brought out a chair, but Triple H tried to stop him so they would not get disqualified. This distraction, however, cost Triple H his championship after he lost it to Orton. The following night on Raw, Bautista won a singles match against Big Show due to a distraction by John Cena to become the #1 contender for the WWE Championship at Judgment Day. Bautista went on to defeat Orton in a rematch at Extreme Rules in a steel cage match to capture the WWE Championship. However, on June 8th episode of Raw, Bautista was to vacate the title due to a staged brutal attack by Orton and The Legacy. It was later revealed that Bautista had suffered a legitimate torn left bicep similar to what he suffered in 2006. Legacy was given on-screen credit for his injury. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe